Welcome, everyone, to Working Mommy Manual podcast.
That's Nicole Corning.
And that's Kathleen Wilson.
We often forget to introduce ourselves because we're so excited about getting, going with the flow and getting into it.
It is not because we think we are so famous that we could just go by, like, we don't have to introduce ourselves, like Cher or Madonna.
Right.
Can I tell you the funniest thing? You know how on Spotify they have that DJ thing?
Yes.
It pulls up. And the other day it was like, here's an artist you might not be familiar with. And it's like, her name is Cher.
What?
I'm like, I'm actually mad on Cher's behalf for you. I am so pissed for Cher at Spotify. Like, what do you mean I don't know? Who doesn't know who Cher is?
Grew up with Cher.
And actually, if you don't know who Cher is, shame on you.
Right.
Shame on you.
Yes.
She's a queen. She's an icon.
She's phenomenal. I think that she recently, she was at the Grammys. I think she was at the Grammys.
Oh, was she?
And she was like, and listen, I saw on social media clips of this, but I think that she was doing introduction. Oh, no, I'm sorry. She was accepting some kind of maybe a lifetime award or something. Aww. Anyway, so she walks off stage and then she had to turn around because she's like, oh, I'm supposed to introduce the next. And I'm like, we're all getting old, Cher. We're all getting old.
Yes, queen. Doesn't matter.
And that could all be in the total wrong context, but that's how I saw it.
That's good. No, all about Cher today. Okay, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. It looks like I have road rash on my face. No. So I got a, what's it called? Not a microderm. I got a peel.
Oh, okay.
And you know how it's like the first 2 days your skin just gets tight like a little lizard?
Like Trenton Owen?
Yes, but now it's like, looks like I have road rash. Look at my...
Oh, no, I can see it now, but yes.
Yeah, so...
It's funny, this morning when I washed my face, I was like, I have like red splotches and it's so dry. I think I broke the barrier, so I got to be gentle to my skin. I'm like, oh...
Yes, because it is like at this age, like your skin is like, don't mess around with us.
Well, I think I was over exfoliating because it was like, I've been so dry. It's just been dry. The weather has been dry.
Also, we live in the desert.
We do.
So
and by the way, speaking of getting older in age, like I used to live off of,
cigarettes and Diet Coke.
Me
too.
And Boone's Farm.
Yes.
But it was oil of Olay moisturizer when I was in like my teens.
I used oil of Olay in the pink bottle with the little black cap on it.
I had to use the sensitive skin one, but I loved that.
I had the sensitive skin one as well.
So I used it for years. I mean, into my 20s. And then finally got to a point where I actually cannot use moisturizer because it breaks me out now instead of moisturizes. So it's really? Yeah. So our dermatologist, he's so amazing. I use these gel things and he just gives me stuff to use on my face, which is nice.
So we've kind of already dove into the topic.
Yes.
Which is, I want to call today's episode, Everything Your Mom Should Have Told You About Menopause and Didn't.
Yes.
And I feel like this can actually be a series. I think we can bring different guests on to give like actual professional insight.
Right.
So this is not that episode.
Right.
We will not be
subject matter experts.
We are not, we're subject matter experts on our own experience.
Right.
And, there's a lot of talk about menopause and all this. And I'm not saying we have all the answers, but we are like in the middle of it all.
Right.
Also, I can hear like every man being like, oh, and now I'm fast forwarding, which is funny because we have a lot of men that listen.
They do. Well, but you know what? You can also listen to this so that you understand what your significant other is going through.
Yes.
And when they're talking about those hot
flashes.
Or
your sister or your mom or your aunt or your cousin or your daughter or whoever it is in your life that might be going through it because it's insane.
Right.
It's insane. And nobody really
talks about it.
No.
Well, and like you said, you're like the things your mothers didn't talk to you about. My mom didn't talk to me about it at all. Like I had no idea. And then when I finally hit like my late 40s, my doctor asked me, when did your mom go into menopause? I'm like, good question. She's dead. I don't know. And we never spoke about it.
So we're going to put a pin in it for right now, Doc. Exactly. Thanks for asking. Rip that wound right open.
I know, right.
Thank you. So my mom, who is alive, did not share much of anything with me.
I think it's just the generational thing for them, right?
I don't know if it's generational or just societal, right? Like I think that, I think just most women don't talk about it because it is kind of embarrassing, right? And it is scary and disconcerting at best.
Because you just don't know what is right. I mean, there's so many articles that you can read about. You can talk to doctors. There's people who are pro HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, and some people who are not. They just grin and bear it and just get through it.
And here's the thing, just so you know which side we fall on. And look, we always at Working Mommy Manual podcast fall on the side of you do you.
Yeah.
Like whatever works for you, whatever you've decided, like you go do that. But we are also going to judge you. No, but we have definitely chosen the HRT route.
Yes.
And
I have to tell you, it's like night and day difference, and with my doctor, I mean, she's so amazing. It's baby steps. She's not going to load you all up. And then you just like, okay, you've been depleted for so many years. Now here's everything, and ride that roller coaster. Cause it's baby steps.
And it can be, and it probably will be, a literal roller coaster.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So I think let's dive into HRT. Like, I know a little bit about the history of HRT because I have researched it, and I researched it, before I just like signed up for it. Mm-hmm. And there's also this great documentary, which I will figure out the name of it and let everyone know. But there was a great documentary about the history of HRT, which has been around for a very long time, but kind of got torpedoed in the 90s.
Right.
So I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I remember it in the 90s, even though I wasn't even near menopause at that point. But they were talking about how HRT like increases the rate of cancer by something ridiculous. Like let's call it 200%. Right. So everyone backed off.
They were like,
and that's when all, the whole generation of women started saying like, we're just going to white knuckle it. Like we're just going to get through it. And I started to try to do a little research and it wasn't clear, but the documentary I watched really talked about how HRT started to get utilized a lot, like particularly in the 90s. And that then this research report came out and that women just backed off on it. And so most HRT is not covered by insurance. Some is, some isn't.
Right.
And basically how, like, and again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I also believe that like if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, like so this whole theory of like that HRT is terrible for you and it's going to kill you and going to give you cancer, and then all these women stop taking it, like that was like a boon for the insurance companies, right? Because now they didn't have to cover anything because women were like self-selecting out, like, oh, I don't want it. But when you actually dig into the numbers, so the research that they did was flawed. So the research that they did in the 90s only involved women who were post-menopause. So it was women who had gone through all the withdrawals and having like nothing in their system, and then in terms of
hormones.
Very low,
hormones
in their system. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they basically were like dosing them with HRT post-menopause. And these were also women like in their like late 60s and 70s. So these were older women. These were women who had already gone through everything and their body had kind of, settled at a set point. And now you were kind of like restarting things. And most women who are getting HRT are perimenopause, meaning like premenopausal.
Right.
Or just starting to go through menopause. So these are not like the standard protocol now is that you get it while you're like when your body stops producing it, they're giving you something to keep it going. Right. Basically.
Right.
So,
and then, yes. And so what my doctor did is, we checked, so I guess in my late 40s, we did hormone testing. But I was still on birth control. So she's like, this really isn't going to give you any kind of a great idea, but we're going to switch you to like just progesterone only pill. And I should have asked more questions. I don't know. But for 30 days, I felt like I was losing my mind. You just are so emotional. You're going through this withdrawals and like getting back to your own basic level. And I had no idea that that's what the plan was going to be. I wish you would have talked to me a little bit more about that. And then she said, next year when you come for your appointment, we're going to do another set of tests, and that will give you your true baseline.
So I love that you bring up questions because I feel like, yes, women and doctors should be like, mothers should be talking to their daughters about it. Doctors should be talking to their patients about it, right? But that doesn't always happen.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, like you have to take charge.
Right.
Like when it comes to this, you have to take charge. So the number one thing that I would tell every person who is listening is that write down the questions that you have for your mother.
Yes.
Or your grandmother,
or your sister,
or your sister, or whoever. Like if you have a family member that has gone through it, you need to sit them down because like I thought my mom had told me everything, and I will tell a story where she clearly did not, and I was like, "Mom, you're telling me this now?" Like. So we just don't really talk about it. And and the older generation, and maybe it's generational, they definitely didn't talk about it. But that is such critical information when it comes to you making decisions about your health right now.
Right.
So get those questions together. I would start with like, here's an easy one. So when did you go through menopause? Right?
Right.
And how was your experience with that?
But you know what's interesting is there's a couple of people that we've spoken to, one we had happy hour with, and then another one that I talk to regularly, and they were like, I didn't experience it at all. I didn't feel different. And I'm like, I wish that were me. You know, I wish I didn't have those like emotional roller coasters of withdrawal and emotions. And as a matter of fact, fast forward a year later, and she's like, okay, well, we're going to go through, like, we're going to make some changes. And I'm like, okay, whatever we do, I do not want to go through what I went with last year, when I went through last year. That was not fun. It took 30 days. And I was just like, what is wrong with me? You just power through it and you just keep going. But I was feeling weepy and emotional and everything.
Well, and you bring up a good point in that there are women that don't really have major symptoms, right? Like we have a mutual friend. She was like, I never really had a terrible time going through it, which is great because she has some other medical stuff that disallows her from being able to take hormone replacement. That's the other thing. Like HRT is not for everyone. Like if you've had breast cancer, that is like estrogen positive. You can't that's not an option for you. Right. So the other thing that I think is weird is that a lot of doctors will leave their patients on birth control, like as your doctor did, like as part of that. And I don't know anyone who's had a good experience with that.
Well, after a certain age, you're supposed to come
I'm not a
off
doctor. I'm just saying anecdotally, my other friends, I don't think anyone was like, oh yeah, that was the magic bullet. Like, no, it was not.
No, it wasn't at all. As a matter of fact, I mean, Nicole and I have our PhD from WebMD. So
that's right.
As Steve says in our office, GTS, Google that shit. I always hear him say GTS. And I'm like, oh Lord, who's he talking to now?
Google that shit.
Yep.
Yes.
So anyway, but no, I think it's so important. And so now I'm like an advocate to my daughter who's 20. I'm like, by the way, 48 is when I started feeling things. Like when I started looking at that. So I think that really, I mean, if you can, depending on whether or not you're on the birth control, is, look at getting your baseline done sooner than later. And the whole reason why we had to change my birth control was because of my blood pressure. My doctor was like, who gave this to you? I'm like, your office did. And she's like, oh my gosh, we're switching you now. Because it just, it's just long term. It's not good for women for their cardiovascular system. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is no bueno,
no,
right?
Exactly.
Like again,
so they're like, and we're going to pull estrogen from you cold turkey. Go with it. And I just thought it was just because of.
Is that when you thought you were losing your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is. Okay. So, full disclosure, supposedly my hormonal numbers are showing I'm in like full menopause. Like I've been in perimenopause.
Yeah.
Probably from like age 40 to 51.
Yes. Well, I started asking my old OBGYN, like I had 2 of my kids, 3 of them, but with him. And I was telling him I'm having night sweats. He's like, you can't have night sweats when you're on the birth control pill. But I've read otherwise, like you can still have night sweats even when you're on, estrogen.
Well, that's the thing. Like doctors don't know everything. So you have to trust your body.
You have to be your advocate.
You have to be your advocate. So yeah. So I didn't know that menopause can last
forever.
Like basically like the lifetime of a cat. Like it's like it can,
For a long time.
For a very long time.
Well, and I feel bad for the husbands that are dealing with like teenagers with their hormones, and then they're dealing with their wives going through menopause because they're getting it from both sides.
Oh, and but at least like that was what I was thinking about. Like, so at least with daughters who got their periods, or even when we got our periods, like I remember my mom gave me the like Our Bodies Ourselves book, and I would like, and I was like, okay, and we talked about it, and it was more kind of out there about my period, and my friends and I talked about it. And I don't know, it seemed like, I don't know, like a, you know, you'd have a discussion, right? Or it wasn't this awful thing. And maybe I'm misremembering it, but I don't remember it being so like shut down. But I feel like, you know, no pun intended, but I feel like menopause is in this like black box.
Right.
We're just like, it's locked down. Like
go figure it out. Pandora's box.
And when I say I was in perimenopause, like when I was 40, this is how I knew I was in perimenopause. And I didn't even know that at that point, I was just like utterly exhausted, like first trimester of pregnancy exhausted, where I was like, I get out of bed and all I want to do is crawl back into bed. I'm like, and after a while, I'm like, that's not right. So, you know, I went to my doctor and I was 40 and I was healthy, and she basically was like, you're fine. But then someone told me you should go see a naturopath. So a naturopath, and I'm astonished at how many people don't know what a naturopath is. So this is the part where, this is the bougie part where it's usually if you're going to a naturopath, that's all cash. Like it's cash. The work they do is cash. Like it is, and it's not inexpensive, right?
Right.
But to me, it's totally worth it. So I went because I had thought it was because of my thyroid. So and I had been seeing just my GP, like my primary care physician for my thyroid, and she would take a blood draw every year, and she just increased my dosage to, you know, the thyroid meds. So I thought it was my thyroid. So, but I was really desperate because my primary care was like, no, your like thyroid's fine. So I went and saw a naturopath at someone's, I don't even know how anyway, but I'm that person for you. Like if you can afford it, even just for an initial consultation, like go see a naturopath, because the business model is completely different. So I have not given up my primary care physician. My naturopath digs into all the stuff with my thyroid. She also digs into all the stuff with my hormones. And that was the difference. So we found out like I didn't have as much testosterone. Now, if you met me, the last thing that you would likely think I am deficient in is testosterone.
But that's where you get your energy from.
It's where you get your energy from. But I'm like, so look, I have a naturally aggressive personality. That's not because of testosterone.
No.
But my ability to like get out of bed and function in the world, that was tied to the testosterone. So if you're feeling exhausted, like, and everyone's just like, well, I'm getting older. Like, yeah, but if like we're all getting older, what if there's a better way to age?
Right.
What if there's a way where you can age but not be utterly exhausted?
Well, and there's two folds to that, because so when I had my numbers drawn this year, and she said the same thing, like basically you're in menopause, and she said, you know, I say that, however, you know, we're going to start you on the estradiol patch that could, you know, strum up some, you know.
And estradiol is
patch.
Is estrogen.
Estrogen, yes, it's a patch. You replace it twice a week. And so we started with that, and she was like, I want you to be on this for 6 weeks before we talk about testosterone, because your testosterone's low too. I'm not on the lower side, but I'm not on the higher side. I'm just kind of like, meh. Isn't there a commercial? The Super Bowl commercial?
Yes.
Meh.
Meh.
It's like, you know.
You're like meh.
Yeah.
With the, yeah. No,
So,
who wants to be that? Who wants to be meh with their hormones?
Okay, so we went through the estradiol, you know, the estrogen and stuff, and that, like the hot flashes subsided. I didn't say they didn't go away, but they subsided tremendously. The night sweats subsided. And so we did that for 6 weeks, and I reached out to her and I said, you know, do you need to do a blood draw? Do you want to check things? She's like, no, as long as you feel good and everything's working. I go, I'm still kind of having some night, like right when it's time to change, I can tell I'm low. And she's like, well, let's increase it. Anyway, I haven't gotten to that part yet. So I'm still on the other, because it had just been 6 weeks. So maybe my body's still trying to adapt to that, the low dose.
So I eventually did get on estrogen. I just got on estrogen.
Okay.
So from 40 to 51, it was just testosterone. Now, so she did see that I was low on progesterone. So she gave me that I take at night. I don't see a difference. So,
well, they said that if you're taking any estrogen or estradiol, that you have to have progesterone to go with it because it protects your lining in your uterus is what it's for.
Okay.
So they have to go hand in hand is what I was told.
So I have a low dose of that I'm supposed to take at night. I will tell you.
It's supposed to help you sleep, actually.
It is, but I'm already an awesome sleeper, except when the second thing happened.
What?
So the testosterone, like I was always low on testosterone, not a big deal. Like I chose to get a pellet.
Okay.
So here's what a pellet is. Bitch, they cut you.
I know.
So it's like on your...
Isn't it like size of the Tic Tac?
Yeah, it's tinier. It's like the size of a grain of rice. Like it's super tiny. But like, so every 3 months I go in and they like just cut a little thing and then they insert it. And then
Do you have to get a stitch or just a Band-Aid?
I think they just do like one of those
liquid.
I don't even know what the hell they do.
Oh.
I have to leave, like I can't be in a pool or a sauna or a hot tub for like 3 days, and it's kind of bloody. Like it's not awesome, but anyway, but that like changed my life. Like it kept me totally normal. Then within the last year, they gave me that progesterone, and I was like, just because they saw it was low, but not because I was like feeling totally off. Okay, then. Gosh, it was October. So October of last year. So we're in February now. So October, I literally fell off a cliff. I started getting night sweats like 4 times a night, and I'm an awesome sleeper, and it was like waking me up, and I was burning.
Yes.
And I thought hot flashes and night sweats were just your mind telling you that you were hot. It is not.
No.
You are actually hot.
And sweating.
You're hot. You are like on fire.
Yes.
Like
Well,
to the touch.
And it's so funny because Dale, like, he'll go to bed and then he'll lean over to give me his, and like I'm sweating and my hair's all wet. You know, it's just like
he's like,
yeah, exactly. He was like, I was gonna snuggle you a little bit last night, but you were like having a night sweat. And I'm like, please don't touch me when I'm like that.
No,
you feel gross, you know, and you're just like, But it's just, you know, one of those things. That's why we wanted to talk about this, because no matter how you're feeling, it doesn't matter if you're in your early 40s, you should really start talking about it, because that's when you typically start going through your perimenopause phases.
And you might just think I'm getting old, or maybe it's my thyroid or whatever. You're like, if it's not awful, you're just like, I'm okay.
Yeah, right.
It's just normal.
Or
like,
your doctor says you're on the pill. You can't be having night sweats.
okay, no, they
I
lie.
am.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's a lie. So in October of last year, I like fell like into and then I was having like, what do they call it? I was having hot flashes, like probably like 4 or 5 times a day. And they were meaningful. And, you know, in my line of work, like you can't look like you are just like having massive sweat attacks while you're trying to talk to people about their financial plans, right? Like that doesn't instill a lot of confidence.
Right.
So anyway, so I went and got my blood drawn, and I knew I had a blood draw. Oh, the other thing is I started bleeding. So I barely get a period, if ever. And I got my period for like 13 straight days, and it was heavy, and I was exhausted, and I'm like, I think I might be dying. Like, I think I might actually be dying. So the good news is I was already having a blood draw for my thyroid. So I got my blood drawn from my naturopath, and then I went in to see her in like November, and she's like, can we talk about night sweats? I'm like, oh my God. She's like, can we talk about hot flashes? I'm like, oh my God. So she has, because I've been seeing her forever, she has been charting like all of my levels, and whatever level it is that like it's your estrogen or whatever, just like
plummeted?
Like it was like, yeah. And so she said, welcome to menopause. So
it's not fun.
It is not fun.
But it's like, but that's why we're advocating for this. Like, you have to, whatever works for you. For me, it was definitely getting on to the hormones. Like,
well, and I think too, even if so here's how I would phrase it. Get your levels checked, because just because you know what your levels are does not mean that you need to take anything or do anything for it. Right.
Right.
Or there are natural supplements or things you can get like on Amazon or whatever that are like, oh, this can help. And you should talk a little bit about those things, because you even gave me some before I went in and saw my doctor, because I was like really struggling. But at least know what your levels are, because a lot of times, even if you're just like, okay, well, my estrogen completely fell into the toilet, like, I'm not crazy. This isn't awful. Like, I'm just gonna get through it. Now, I, of course, was like, what are we gonna do about it? So, so my primary care put me on the estradiol patch, and also like this like cream, because here's the thing, and I should have known this, but as you go through menopause, you get like everything gets dried out, like your mouth, like your like tissue in your vagina, like everything does. And that's how you can get like, you can end up getting more no, oh my God, I'm going to call them.
No.
I was going to call them UITs, but UTIs.
Right.
UITs is that's a financial term, but you can get more urinary tract infections. You can have pain, you can have tearing, like it, like, but you don't have to, right? Like, you just use a little cream, not the end of the world.
Right.
Like, certainly not anything that you want to do before you have to do it.
Right.
But, and like, yeah, embarrassing to talk about, but like so much better to just like be on top of that than like,
to just know what your options are.
Just know what your options are.
Yes.
But it was, she put me, so my understanding with estradiol, there are 5 levels, and she put me on the middle level, which now she's going to be able to put it in the pellet, but she didn't want to put a pellet in until she knew what the right dosage was.
Right.
Cause like it was a patch and that's not working. It's too much or too little. You can like just take it off. And anyway, it literally stopped my night sweats and my hot flashes cold.
That's so, isn't it
Stopped
just amazing?
It 100, like not even.
It's just this little bit, just, it makes such a huge difference. And that's why I'm such an advocate for it.
I want to go back to the HRT studies from the 90s, because I did mention that the studies were showing that there was like a 200% increase. I know, again, I'm making up the numbers. I should have done better research, but the numbers there was an increase, but it went from like 1.75 to like 2.25, which is, or like it wasn't like it went from like you have a 5% chance to you have like a 15% chance now. Like it's like there are lies and statistics, right? So statistically it was a marked increase, but pure numbers wise, it wasn't. So yes, there is an increase, but this was also in women who are post-menopause.
Right.
So they've since done research for women who are like perimenopause and menopause, and they've discounted that that research that was done in the 90s.
Well, and because I've done so much, like reading on what are my options? Like, what are the choices? What if I do this? What if I do that? But then the algorithm started talking about how the FDA has removed the HRT from being blacklisted because the studies actually showed that the women were starting to get dementia because of lack of estrogen. Now, again, this is just social media. I'm regurgitating what I've seen online, but those are the things. And I don't know. I just felt night and day difference, and I'm so happy I did it. And the real game changer was the testosterone. So I was on the estradiol for 6 weeks, and then she said, reach out to me like the first week of December and we'll talk about it. So I sent her a message and I'm like, hey, I feel really great. The night sweats, they haven't, when it's time to change it, I'm still I start to get them, but she's like, well, we'll increase your dose. So I think I have to wait until this prescription's finished, and then then I think I'm eligible to go for the next dose or whatnot. But
the higher dose.
Yes, okay. Because she put it in for it.
So what was the difference with the testosterone?
So what happened was it was like I take a troche. It's a TROCHE is how you spell it.
It looks like a little piece of wax.
It is.
It looks like a little square piece of tiny square. It looks like a. What would you say? What size? I don't know. It's like it's tiny.
Yes.
Anyway, I will think of it. You keep talking.
Yes. And so you just stick it under your tongue and you let it dissolve. And then you can't eat or drink anything for 30 minutes afterwards. And by day 6, I woke up that day and I felt like I drank 15 cups of coffee. I was like wired. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? And then I realized that it was the testosterone. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I started reading about that because I felt like I was on a super high. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Like I need to I was nervous, but they said that your body's just been so depleted. It's just like taking it in.
Like it's
yeah, exactly. And then it will
level out.
Absolutely level out to a nice, clean, good feeling. And that's where, and it literally within like a few days later, I felt better. I didn't feel like I had 15 cups of coffee.
But you had that huge surge.
Yes.
So if there are, like for the 3 men who are still listening, there is value in your experience and your input as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the funny thing is when I started bleeding, and again, like I was just kind of going through it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, not only did my naturopath put me on estradiol, but I had to go in and get 2 infusions of iron with her, like over a course of a month, because she's like, your red blood cells are so low from like bleeding a lot for 13 days.
Right.
Like, so anyway, so I finally mentioned it to my mom. And she's like, we hung up the phone and then she called back and she's like, Nikki, am I on speaker? Like, cause I think Jack was over and Jonathan was there. I'm like, no. And so I'm like, well, is this private? She's like, yes. So I like walk into the other room. She's like, so I should let you know that, I bled a lot and then I actually hemorrhaged. And I had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery when I was going through menopause. And I'm like, okay, Mom, this actually would have been helpful, like knowledge.
Right.
Even like 20 years ago, if you had mentioned it, then I would have been like, I could have said to my doctor, like, I need to be, or like, I've been bleeding for the last 13 days. Like maybe I should have known,
right?
Like I should have a plan just in case I start hemorrhaging, like how I'm going to get myself to the hospital. Right. I don't know, like had you on speed dial or something. So then I said something to my brother about it. And my brother's 4 years younger. He's like, don't you remember Mom going through menopause? I'm like, no. And he was like, oh my God, it was like the worst 2 years of my life. He's like, she basically didn't work for a whole year. She spent the whole year on the couch and it was drama. And I'm like, how do I not remember any of this? And then we both realized I was at college.
Oh.
So I wasn't there, but he was 4 years younger. So he was still around.
Yes.
And saw it. So anyway, it's so for the 3 men who are listening, like you may have some vital information. If you saw your mom going through menopause and you have a sister,
yes,
please tell her what happened. Please tell her what happened and what your experience was, because there's like a 9 out of 10 chance that your mom did not tell her.
Right.
And was not planning on doing it.
Right.
I don't think my mom was going to tell me until I was like in the hospital hemorrhaging.
I mean, I don't know why they don't say anything. I don't know why my mom didn't talk about it. Yeah. I mean, I asked my sister, I'm like, did she talk to you about it? She's like, nope, not at all. And
no,
I'm like,
no one talked about it. They were just like, you grin and bear it.
Yes.
I don't understand. So I don't understand women not getting HRT the same way that I don't understand women who did natural childbirth. Like, I was like, so do you get more prize money?
I mean, I don't
suffering?
know.
Was there a cash reward?
Right.
Like what, like, are other people's babies disadvantaged because the mother wasn't in excruciating pain during the birth?
I had zero desire to do natural birth. I mean, I barely, they barely just got the epidural to work right before I had Bailey. And I was basically I suffered through the whole thing except for just the last.
But I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe white knuckle. Like, look, if you don't have bad symptoms, I get it. Like, just kind of go with it and get through it. But like, if you're not feeling good, or you're feeling off, or you're in pain, or you're bleeding, or like any one of a number of things, I don't understand. Dan,
Well,
why
you know,
you wouldn't try to fix it?
Well, Nicole and I just went on a business trip together, and we always share a room. And what was hilarious is like the room was 65 degrees, and we're like, it's still a little warm in here.
At night. And you're like, no, it was literally 65 degrees in Florida. And I'm like, oh, it's probably the humidity.
Our room was cold, but it felt great. And I slept good.
At night.
Yes.
Yeah. We slept. Oh God. That was probably menopausal Nicole. Oh my God. So we were supposed to, every time we travel, when we go to we go to financial conferences, we always share rooms because we're one of like 10 women at the conference, right? Out of like 500. Actually, there were a fair number of women.
There were.
This time, so that was great. But what did we do? So we had watched, so I had upgraded us to first class because Kathleen is a Seattle Seahawks fan and I am a Patriots fan. And they were playing each other in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Which literally started at the exact time our flight was taking off from Phoenix to go to Miami.
Yes.
And so anyway, we were, I'm like, we're going to watch it together. So we downloaded and, got everything.
iPads.
We were like, okay.
We're in our swag.
I'm a Patriot. She's in her Seahawks. So I spent basically 3.5 hours watching the Patriots get totally beaten up. I'm still proud of them. And that little quarterback, Josh Mays, honey, don't you worry about you are a baby and you held your own.
Yep.
And that defense was like real tough. Like you're it's going to be okay. But basically, like I didn't realize how much I did not want to watch that.
Right.
But it was awful. And and then at one point Kathleen turns to me like when we finally scored and she's like, "See, you guys scored." I was like, "Do not condescend to me and the Patriots." Anyway, so I was not in a good mood. Oh, and the flight attendant, probably because I was so angry, just kept bringing us Tito's and sodas. So I was for sure overserved by the time I got off the flight. So we get to the hotel. It's late at night. I have watched the Patriots be whooped for like 3.5 hours. I'm slightly tipsy. We get up to the room. We walk in. There's one bed.
Right.
I am like, hell no. So then I'm trying to call down to concierge. No one answers. So finally I'm like, just Kathleen, watch our bags. So, and by the way this resort is that
it's ginormous.
And we had to walk like basically a quarter of a mile to get from like check-in
registration.
Mm-hmm. So I get back down to registration. I basically throw my key at the poor guy at the front desk. He's like, "Ma'am, you don't need to throw it at me." And I was like, I just don't understand why I have one bed in my room. It was very clear that we were to have 2 beds. Blah, blah. Anyway, I was going on and on. So I think that's where menopause worked for me because we ended up with this amazing end suite where we had bay views and ocean views. And we had a full on sitting room with a bar and a desk and like full on pull out couch. And then we had a long hallway and this huge bathroom. Right. We could have had a party in there and then a separate bedroom with 2 very they were definitely queen beds. Yes. And it was
very comfortable.
So I feel like menopause worked for me in that moment. I feel like it worked for me.
Yes.
Menopause and just sheer anger.
She was like, I just need to go to bed. And it was like this hotel, they have a famous nightclub there. So people were dressed to the nines. Men are in their suits. It's not like out here in Old Town where people just kind of wear what they want. I mean, they're wearing full on suits.
No,
pastel colored suits.
I have not seen that many breasts in and a very long time.
Dressed a lot. Yes.
I was like, wow. I'm definitely old and going through menopause because all I want to do is sit all these beautiful girls down and say the energy that you put into putting yourself together like this, you're more than this. I want you getting a degree. And you know what? Shame on me because maybe there were a bunch of doctors in the room and I didn't know it. But I was just it's a Sunday night. It was a Sunday night. And the next day was Monday work day. Yep. Mm-hmm. And it was a full on nightclub.
Party.
It was a full, and I was in my tattered at this point Patriots shirt. And I was like, I don't need pity and I don't need this many boobs in my face. I just don't.
It was still fun.
It was fun. We had a great time. And it was a beautiful resort. Yes. Yeah, we had a good
We got
time.
to go for a nice walk that next morning.
Right
that was
along
really
the
nice.
ocean. It was
yes,
pretty.
that
We
was
down
gorgeous.
the water.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think bottom line is you need to ask. And you know what? If your mom's not around, maybe ask your younger siblings.
Yes.
Like, do you remember when mom went through menopause?
Right.
Like, do you have any recollection of that?
Right.
And then I think you need to do your research. And then I think you need to go talk to your doctor. And if you don't like the answer your doctor gave you, go find a different doctor. Like, because your primary care physicians are doing hormone replacement, but so are OBGYN offices now.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, like, for me, it's a game changer going to a naturopath. It is an absolute game changer. It's just a different model.
Right.
It's, like, when you go see any doctor now, and it's not their fault. Like, I love doctors, but it's their model because it's insurance company driven.
Right.
It's every 15 minutes they get to see a new patient.
Right.
So they
have your questions written out. Be ready to go.
Be ready to go and be purposeful about the questions. And don't be afraid to, like, every doctor has their own portal. So you can, like, ask follow-up questions.
Oh, 100%. Log into those portals.
You're not annoying. This is a big deal.
Yes.
Like, you're about, and I will tell you, the best thing about menopause is I really do not care anymore. I don't know if it's 50. I don't know if it's menopause. I'm going to choose to think it's probably both of those things. I just don't care anymore.
Right.
I don't care. I just don't care.
That's menopause talking.
It probably is. It probably is. Any parting words on menopause? You know what? We should get my naturopath on here to talk about. I'll send her a message on the portal. Yeah.
We want you to talk on the podcast.
She's one of us. You will love her so much. She's so great. What are your parting thoughts on?
No, just, be aware of what's going on with your body. You just have to be an advocate. And I would say start in your 40s. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if you think you're fine, maybe just get a baseline on your hormones done, because then you can be like, okay, well, this is markedly different than that was.
And ask questions like if you're switching birth control or coming off birth control, what are my symptoms going to be? Be prepared for that. I'm one that likes to set expectations for myself so I know what, and when I was just like the Band-Aid was ripped off and you're just suffering, I'm like, what is happening right now? So, yes.
It doesn't make,
you don't have to do it that way.
You don't. There is a better way.
Yes.
A much better way.
Right.
Okay. So do you have a mom hack and a one good thing?
Oh gosh, I do not. I have a one good thing. The one good thing is taking the trip with you because we hadn't seen each other. We'd been so busy. You'd been traveling for work. Then we got to sit and watch the plane, watch the game on the plane, even though it wasn't for your benefit. One of us would have felt that way. I thought about that. Like, one's not going to be happy because their team's losing, but it was still fun to hang out because we hadn't seen each other. And then just being at the conference and just getting out and seeing another side of the country, just because, we're in our office all day on the computers, work. And so just being able to get up, get coffee, go for a walk on the beach, go down to the beach, and then come back. And we did work while we were there. We did work in the morning, we did work in the afternoon, and then the conference started. And so we were hustling there and working in between. So
I was so proud of you. So this was a big national conference. And if I said the name, which I'm not going to because I'm sure I'm not allowed to, but actually, I'm going to say it anyway. So it was the Forbes Team Conference. So, and we were recognized as one of the top teams in the country. And Kathleen, as our Chief Operating Officer, was invited to speak on a panel.
Yes.
And you crushed it.
Thank you.
You did such a good job. She was so nervous.
I was trying to pretend I was talking on the podcast, but when I kept looking out and seeing all the eyes look at me, I'm like, we're not on a podcast.
You were like, this is no podcast.
And I'm like, he keeps asking me the same questions. And Nicole's like, well, he was trying to like get granular with you, but she's like, you kept it high level. And I'm like, because I was afraid I was going to start rambling. So I will tell you though, that the guy who ran the panel, he was very nice, but he did not he did you a disservice in the way he asked the questions, because the way he'd ask, first of all, he didn't ask you all the questions that you had prepared for. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is he asked compound questions. So he would be like, Kathleen, tell me about this and this and this.
And at one point, he even was like, Kathleen, talk about this and this. Actually, you know what? But talk about the second thing first.
Yes.
I am like, sir, are you trying to fuck your panel up?
I know.
Because that is what's happening here.
And my co-panel panelist was sitting there. He was like, is it like 1,000 degrees up here? I'm like, yes, it is. Just because you're just going through everything. But anyway,
it does give you a different perspective, because at those conferences, it's always freezing. Mm-hmm. But then when you sit up on stage, you realize that the lights are really hot.
Yes.
And so they have like purposely made the room.
Right. But it was such a great experience. I loved it. And then what was so fun is I'm on with our business coach. I have a monthly call with a group of people across the country, and
other COOs.
Yes, other COOs, and one of them was at this conference, and so I'm sitting there talking to a coworker, and here comes this familiar face. I'm like, okay, I know this man. He's coming right for me. I'm like, let me read his badge. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's you! And I give him a big hug. So it was so great meeting him in person and not being on a Zoom call.
That was an awesome trip. I will say that was an awesome trip. I will say my one good thing is that my boyfriend he was in California for work last week, and he was supposed to go home to Virginia, but I begged him to come here, and he switched his flight. So,
I love it. Well, it was so cute. I mean, it was Valentine's Day weekend.
It was Valentine's Day weekend, but I missed him. So, so I was so grateful to have him here, and we didn't do anything extraordinary. We just really hung out and went and saw my parents. And
that's so nice, though.
But it was just
being close and having nothing to do together is great.
It was so great.
Yeah.
But I will say I have a mom hack that ties in with today's podcast. Okay. So if you've listened to this podcast, if you've made it to the end and you're like, oh my God, this is so depressing, like everything that you just talked about. So I'm sure she has a TikTok too, but I don't really watch TikTok. I know because I'm so old. But there's an Instagram account, and it's called the I Do Not Care Club.
Oh, yes.
And that woman is magical. Mm-hmm. It's a woman in our age range who just talks about the things that she does not care about. The one today had me just absolutely dead on the floor. It was addressed to men.
What was it?
I can't. I'll show it to you after this. Okay. But it was. She just so what she does is she comes out and she reads a list of the things that we do not care about. Mm-hmm. And they are so.
I've seen her, and it is hilarious. It's funny. I like when they keep things real and funny.
And she is real and funny.
In stitches, some of the stuff.
And she comes out where she has a pair of readers on her head. She has a pair of readers on and a pair of readers stuck in her shirt.
Because you're always
where are my readers?
Yes.
Because you don't care anymore.
Yep.
You do not care.
It's so true.
So anyway, we made it to the end of our show, and for the three men who stuck with it, thank you.
One of them's probably Dale. The other one's probably Jonathan.
I know, right? And maybe my brother.
Yeah.
My brother's like, yeah, I did save you. That's right. You owe me. You owe me. Anyway, I love you. Thank you for podcasting. And thanks everyone for listening and watching. And cheers and press and hold.
Have a great week.
Goodbye, everyone.